This is Dr. Peggy Semingson, Associate Professor of Curriculum and Instruction at the University of Texas at Arlington. This podcast series shares success tips from faculty on academic productivity. Views shared by faculty are their own. We are talking to Dr. Andy Milson, Professor of Geography. Andy, what are your best tips for staying productive in writing and publishing?
I think one important thing is to have a to-do list and to be sure that you have a clear sense of what your priorities are on that to-do list. So um, that's one thing that's important. Another would be to I keep a chart that includes kind of project ideas. And so I'll have something like the possible title for a paper, and then a target journal. And so I try to think of where that idea might be best suited in terms of a journal publication. Sometimes I even think about the journal I'd like to publish in before I even really come up with a clear idea. And then I think about the type of article that would be appropriate for that journal. And then in my chart, I would have a title, a target journal. I'd have something like a column for status. So I might be in the data collection phase. I might be in the drafting of the lit review stage. But I try to keep track of what my status is on that project. I also would keep a column for possible conference presentations related to that paper. So, and that would also have the same sort of target conference status columns. And that allows me to kind of keep track of that I'm taking a particular project through a set of phases of presenting it at a conference and then working it up for a journal publication. So a to-do list and a chart have been really handy for me.
Okay, thanks. And then what are your habits and processes as an academic writer?
One thing I've found that I really need is a block of time to write. And I know some people can write in 30-minute blocks here and there in the middle of a day when they're going from classes to meetings to this and that. But I've found I can't really do that very well. So I like to try to block out at least an afternoon or two a week if I can to write. And sometimes that means reading, actually. It means preparing to write. And so um, blocking out time is really important to me. Um, and I guess my other habit is I've started keeping a journal too, which I didn't do early on in my career, but I kind of wish I had because it really helps me to um, kind of get my ideas down, think through priorities, and then I can look back at that um, a couple of months later, and see, am I being consistent about what I think my priorities ought to be here, and can I, see that there's some trend here and things that I keep mentioning I'm interested in or bothered by. Um, so I really think the journal's been very helpful to me now, and something I kind of wish I had done earlier on. Um, but finding a block of time is really good, and something that I think each person has to figure out what suits them best. And it's really hard to block out time and say I'm not going to look at email or Facebook or grade a paper or do something else. I'm going to really try to focus, and that's I guess my habit is to try to do that, and the reality is that I'm not always successful, but when I am, I find I'm pretty productive and feel good about it.
Awesome, thank you.
One reason that a block of time is really helpful is that I find that my brain kind of needs to warm up to the process, and so sometimes my first half an hour or hour are kind of useless because I'm trying to get into the flow, and so I'll free write or I'll try to outline or I'll talk aloud or something like that. And then I find once I get warmed up, sometimes the time begins to fly by and I don't even realize I've been working at this for a couple of hours. So if I only have 30 minutes, then I might end up just having kind of a useless block of time that doesn't really lead to anything that flows very well.